Okay, after you created a brainstorming of your logo designs and you've tested them and started to narrow down your possible logo ideas to a winning logo, you are ready to start your business card layouts. And you're welcome to use more than one logo. I'd like you to create a black and white version of whatever logo you do decide on ultimately as the winning logo for your brand. But for now, we can jump right into the business card design assignment, which is you'll also find on the server in the teacher files for the class, for the Illustrator class. So I'm gonna open up the business card assignment. There it is. Okay. So for the business card assignment, again, refer to your logo and business card strategies, and the logo biz card guide's gonna be helpful too, which I went over the first page when we were talking about the principles of logo design, but the second page is gonna give you some nice guidelines for designing the business card layout, which we'll refer to. For the business card assignment, like I said, at some point you want to create a black and white version of your logo and a color version of your logo, and you want to create at least 4 different versions of a logo design and business card. These different versions can vary in layout, color scheme, and even the form of your original logo design. So this is your time to make variations on things. Kind of try to narrow your logo design down, but you can have different versions of your logo and different. If you're having trouble choosing between more than one logo, you can make layouts that include both of those logos, and have your peers in class help you out with feedback, their own opinions about what they think, which they think you should go with. But ultimately, it's your decision. Let them help you, but in the end, you decide which logo you're gonna go with. Choose the one design and layout that you think would be the most effective using the tips and guidelines from, I need to change that. It's no longer the Logo Factory website, the Logo Company website I gave you a link to, and the digital handouts to make your decision. And then you can show your instructor your black and white and your color logo. Since I'm probably not going to be there to look at your computers, then I won't be able to see your work at your workstation. So make sure you turn in a black and white version of your logo and a color version of your logo, as well as at least 4 business card layouts for your certification credit. I used to make it a requirement to do 8 business card layouts, but 4 is a minimum. If you can do more, go for it. The more the merrier, and you'll be able to achieve the best design and the best design layout possible if you do more layouts. just to keep things fluid and fresh, and keep your ideas rolling, because you never know what you can come up with until you really come up with it and you try different things out, and then you have more to compare. Okay, yeah, so you're gonna be turning in your work as a PDF, with your business card layouts and your black and white and your color logo. And you can title it your last name, first initial, business cards. If you want to turn in your brainstorming of logos, you're welcome to do that too. But you're not required to. Okay, so how are we gonna start this new document? Let's dive right in. So we're gonna name it last name, first initial. Oops, sorry about the typo. First, I'll fix that. Your last name, first initial, business cards. So I like to have my logo brainstorm file open so I can jump back and forth between the two. And I'm just gonna make a new document, Command N, and make it for print. And I'm gonna title this my last name followed by my first initial dash business card. What did I say to name it? Business cards. I put an underscore. You don't have to do that. You could, if you want to put an underscore. Okay, and I want to make this a letter size. It's a letter size document selected. I'm going to just switch it to inches. And then we're going to put the individual business card artboards on the letter size artboard. So you could print just the letter size and see all of your layouts if you would like to do a test print. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and, one more thing. If we want color to bleed to the edge of our business cards, we should set a standard 1/8 of an inch bleed. So you can do that by simply clicking the up arrow on any one of these bleed parameters, top, bottom, left, or right. They're all linked, so they all change together. So that's 0.1, 0.25 is an 1/8 of an inch, which is a standard bleed. So I'm going to click create. So now I have my one artboard. I'm just going to reset my essentials to tidy things up. Okay, I've got my one artboard, but I want the rest of my artboards. So I said at least 4. So you could do 4 artboards, and then you should also have your logo in color and black and white here somewhere. So I'm gonna refer to the logo biz card guide just to give me some guidelines, things to do when I create my business card layout. So keep in mind, a standard business card is 3.5 by 2 inches. It could be portrait or landscape, so you could do multiple versions. You could do landscape, you can do portrait. Okay, so here we go. So 3.5 by 2 inches. So I'm gonna take I like the 2 columns. I'm going to take my artboard tool, and I'll just drag out a business card size on the side, and I'm just eyeballing it right now. And they're giving us a new reminder about a new feature that if you shift click, you can select multiple artboards now, and you can shift drag to draw a marquee over the artboard you want to select. All right. Okay, so So I want my business card to be 3.5 by 2 inches. All right. So here it is. So I made it too small. So in properties, you can set your width and your height for your artboard that's currently selected. 3.5 for width by 2 for height. All right, and I'm going to just press return to apply that. And now I can just move this artboard on to my big letter size artboard. And it's saying you can rearrange your artboards in vertical, horizontal, or grid layout. Okay, I'm gonna option drag to duplicate more artboards. So if you wanted to do all, oops, I didn't mean to duplicate that big one, Command Z that. If you want to just do all 4 of them like this as landscape, you can. If you want to do a front and a back, you're welcome to do a front and a back. So you might, if you're doing front and back, you might want to duplicate more artboards out. So maybe I want to do, I'm going to hold shift and click to select multiple artboards. And let's see, will option drag work? No, not quite. Option drag lets me move them one at a time. And if I change my mind and I want to have portrait size, I don't have to retype in the width and the height. I can simply use the portrait button in from my artboard's options in properties panel. So I'm going to click portrait there, and I can move that down and make that one portrait too. So this can be so some of these might be just a one-sided business card you could do, and then this might have a front and a back, and this might have a front and a back. It's up to you, or you could do all just one side. It costs less money if you're only designing one side, but you have more space, obviously, to put more information. In the example here, the guidelines for business card layout, I give you some guidelines to stick by. Of course, the standard size. There are business cards that deviate from the standard typical business card size. You're gonna want to allow at least a 1/8 inch or 0.125 inch margin inside the card. So when you're putting text inside of your business cards, you want to make sure that you have that 1/8 of an inch margin from the text to the artboard, not to the bleed, but to the artboard. So we see that there's an 1/8 of an inch margin. Also, for important graphics like the logo, you don't want the logo or the text to be too close to the edge of the artboard. So at least keep an 1/8 of an inch margin of space between the edge of the artboard and text and important imagery like a logo. Let's see. So you're going to want to try to keep the name of the business prominent. Designing the name of the business is as important as designing just the logo image. So the name of the business can also stands as a logo itself too. And that should be prominent. Like I said, some logos have the business name integrated with the logo, but it's also nice. And these days, companies are moving toward more toward the trend of having a business name that stands at to represent the business as a trademark, as well as the image that can stand alone to represent the business as a trademark, or they can stand together, the image with text, and to as a representation. When designing landscape orientation cards, a good strategy is to write align important contact information like email address and phone number, cell phone number, to write align them in the lower right corner. And why do you think that would be a good strategy? Because we're reading left to right, and that's where the viewer's eye is going to stop last. So they're going to have that extra little nudge, that little push to make that phone call or send that email to the person who this business card belongs to. So they might be more inclined to contact the person with that essential contact info right there in the bottom right corner, because it's what they see last. So it's a good strategy. You might want to try that. Keep in mind that for business cards, you should be using smaller type than what you would use for writing your standard essays or papers in high school. So it's not going to be the 12-point font that we were all taught to use. It's going to be something smaller, like 8 or 7 even. And when you're making different adjustments, you want to make adjustments in decimal increments. So you might one situation might be that you are using a 9-point font size, and then the spacing between lines in this example is 8.75 leading. So we have the 9-point font size, and then the spacing between lines 8.75. So this is just an example where you have the business name, you have the logo, you have an address, you have a website, and then you have essential contact info like the email address and the phone number in the bottom right. In this particular example, there's no color that bleeds to the edge, so a bleed wasn't needed. A bleed would be an additional 1/8 of an inch margin outside of the artboard, which I don't have pictured here. But if you want color to bleed to the edge, you need to drag your shapes to the bleed edge. Some people who don't have a place of work, or you don't want to include their home address, so it's the optional. If you want to have your home address there, you can have it or not. It could just be your website, your email address, and your phone number. Social networking is huge right now, so if you're on specific social media networks, then you can put icons. You can also feel free to include icons for the social media networks that you belong to. And I could demonstrate that and show some examples of work that includes the social media. And it could just be the icons. It could also be the specific URL that takes people to your pages on social media. Okay, so um